This is the Hidden Killers podcast with Tony Brueski,
featuring retired FBI Special Agent Jennifer Coffindaffer.
Was he brainwashed? It can happen. I mean, look at people like Chad and Lori Daybell. Did they brainwash each other? Who knows? But there seems to be some extreme belief there. Extreme belief also in the case of Ruby Frankie, Jodi Hildebrandt, and Kevin Franke, Ruby's husband, who now has officially filed for divorce from Ruby. His attorney coming out with a statement this week saying, here's what I asked him. I said, where were you when all this abuse was taking place? The response that he got from Kevin, basically, I was so desperate to get my wife and my children back, I was willing to take anyone's advice who I thought was professional and could help me reestablish my relationship with my kids, my family, my wife. And in hindsight, I was brainwashed. Okay, was he brainwashed, though? Or was he just a very negligent parent? Or was he someone who just kind of went along with whatever Ruby wanted? If Ruby didn't want him around, he wouldn't be around, even if it went to the detriment and the safety of his own children. Here to discuss, Jennifer Coffindaffer, retired FBI Special Agent. What's your thoughts? Is this a true story on the part of Kevin Franke, or is this trying to, throw something at the wall and see what sticks?
I'm not buying kind of a odd version of the battered husband syndrome. Not physically battered, but brainwashed battered. I don't know. I'm not buying any of it. I think he's an intelligent man. I think that for him to not think about the welfare of his children is ridiculous and just an excuse because he wants to try to, not get any blame or liability. But, when I look at this, Tony, have you seen that footage of him with the police officer about the items that his oldest daughter took from their house?
Yeah, that was a very bizarre encounter, I thought.
It's a telling moment that tells me this is a bunch of baloney that he's spouting, because I saw him in that video, as we all did, essentially saying he wants his oldest daughter charged for merely going in and taking out these papers. Why? Probably because these papers incriminate him and show his mindset, and just say they didn't, because we don't know yet. We may never know. Why would you want your own child charged and arrested and that he's going to pursue it? So that he's not painting a picture to me there of some, wilted flower who's been beat up, who feels terrible about everything that's transpired with his children. No way. He seems like somebody complicit and somebody who wanted the same detrimental treatment toward his older child that would emulate treatment that would have been toward the younger children.
Is making the brainwash statement just a bit too much? I mean, does it work against him, essentially? Wouldn't an argument of, look, we separated, she took the kids, these sort of things, they do happen all the time, where it's an agreement between the couple that, you're going to take the kids over here, we're going to separate. A lot of times you do want to see your children. Some people don't, unfortunately. That's their messed up prerogative, but that's apparently, how this seemed to go. But to take it to the level of brainwashed, that almost seems like you're implicating yourself more than you need to. Like, you didn't need to add that little sentence in there. You could have just said, she took the kids, we separated. I trusted her. I didn't think that there would be anything that she would do to abuse or harm our children. I was just as shocked as the rest of you. Brainwashed? I don't know.
Yeah, I think they're kind of piggybacking off the entire 8-passenger mantra, right? They had millions of followers that they had sort of, I guess you could say, brainwashed them into thinking that a lot of their disciplinary actions were the right way to conduct business with your children and in your household. And to me, he's kind of piggybacking off of that. If, millions of people could be brainwashed, maybe he was too. I don't know. That's how I think they came up with this spin. And I'm going to call it a spin. I personally don't buy it.
Is there any world where this could be a valid excuse? I mean, we hear stories all the time about couples. Quite often it's in the opposite direction, where the female in the situation feels, they go along with the abuser because they don't know how to get out. They don't know what else to do. This is all they know. And they follow them down some very dark paths sometimes until they're eventually able to break free. It's a kind of a different ballgame when it turns the other way around, and it seems sometimes more harsh to the male, to the father, when this is the situation. Are we looking at it too harsh that way? Or is this exactly what you just said? Just again, another excuse that someone is trying to use to get away with not being culpable for the well-being of their own children?
Well, I think what you're talking about is so real and does exist, where the batter in the home batters the children, batters the spouse. It doesn't matter, what sex they are. And it's usually a continued line of abuse that starts out small. And by the end of it, it's just so abusive on every level, emotional, physical, and manipulative. And they've just kind of gone along not even realizing, right? The small cut that turns into the gaping wound.
Yeah.
You can see that. We'll digress back to our previous Gabby Petito conversation.
Yeah.
When you see her on the Moab video and you look at her, that's a battered, defeated, abused person.
Yeah.
That has gone along. And remember, she went along with some things, right, during the trip and things that probably she wouldn't have otherwise. We see that on film at the market that they're at the very end, the last footage we have of her, and everything she put up with. So not to digress too much, but that isn't the figure or the person that I see being filmed or that's coming forward. So I just can't buy it based on how he acts and what he says in his demeanor.
By the way, the website, the connections, still up. I checked it the other day for Ruby Frankie and Jodi Hildebrandt. You can still sign up for classes in case anyone wants to go down that road. I almost did just to see what would happen.
It's kind of like you and sending in the dog DNA to the human site.
Dog DNA, sign up for Jodi Hildebrandt. Why not? We got a couple of weeks here with the holidays. Let's have some fun.
How come they don't take that down?
I don't know. They're locked up, and maybe they're the only ones who run it. That's the only thing I can think of.
I suppose. I don't know if you saw that LinkedIn site of the Las Vegas shooter that, in memory of, and all this. No. I don't know who put all of that up there, but I was thinking, it's just so distasteful. It wasn't up for long, but just, I don't know who did that or how that occurred, but it's kind of the same thing,
Very much.
She would even still be out there.
Very much.
Want to listen ad-free? Want advanced access to all of our interviews before anyone else?
Become a True Crime Today Premium Plus subscriber on Apple Podcasts.
You get every episode commercial free.
So you can binge on true crime
until you can binge no more.
Search True Crime Today Premium Plus on Apple Podcasts now, or go to our podcast page and sign up now.
More of the Hidden Killers podcast next.